Let's talk The Long Walk by Stephen King, which just so happens to be my very first Stephen King book I have ever read. And I just finished it, and this is going to be a spoiler-free review for The Long Walk. This just recently got a cinematic reproduction. There may have been previous ones, but I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, that looks really interesting. Oh, Stephen King, I gotta read this before I watch the movie. So I did have a little bit of information going into this based on the trailer for the movie that I will be watching soon and reviewing in comparison to this book. So that'll be really fun. Stay tuned for that. I mean, I would recommend this book. If you're scared of Stephen King, if the idea of reading Stephen King makes you nervous, I don't know, start with The Long Walk. This has been described as a psychological horror dystopian thriller type book. And I'm not sure that's the correct genre. Psychological? Yes. Is it dark? Absolutely. Dystopian? 100%. Horror? Is this a horror book? I'm gonna be honest. I don't think this is a horror book. And the reason is from start to finish, there was never a point while reading this book that I felt horrified. I never had a moment of just uncomfortable dread. I think it's because from the very beginning, it's very established what the rules of the game are. And the game, if you will, is The Long Walk. And these 100 boys, adolescents, I think that they have to be older than the age of 12 and then younger than the age of 18. I don't know how old you can go to be on the Long Walk, but I know that they've all self-selected themselves into the Long Walk. They took a test to do the Long Walk and they've put themselves here. They say this at the very beginning. That's not a spoiler. And they do the Long Walk. And if they stop walking a specific speed, if they, get warned 3 times, and then if they don't keep walking, they're they're out. And this is established in the first chapter. This is also mentioned kind of cryptically at the front, but that is the premise of the Long Walk. So I wouldn't consider that a spoiler. That's just the premise of the book. And so you just follow these 100 boys for their walk. And we follow one main character the whole time, but we get to know some of the other walkers while we're following his footsteps down this road. I honestly think this is quite a fabulous read for a book that's just about walking, really. It definitely is dark. It's definitely got that element of anxiously wanting to know, okay, what's the outcome? But I feel like I've read maybe this is just because I've read so many dystopians. I know the rules of the Hunger Games, and so does everybody else who's reading the book, and so do the players of the book as well. The characters inside it know the rules. So the Hunger Games is dark, but I wouldn't necessarily consider it horror just because it's dystopian and then we all know the rules. In comparison, in the Squid Games TV series, that is definitely horror. And I think a lot of that ties into the fact that we don't know the real rules of the game. And so as the characters figure out those rules, we become horrified with that knowledge. Not spoiling Squid Games, but I think that's why the Squid Game feels more like horror. And I know that's a TV show, but this one doesn't as much. I'm trying to think, honestly, Dark Matter, there were bigger moments of internal dread in Dark Matter, which is defined more as a sci-fi thriller. And I would feel like that's actually more akin to horror than this is. And I guess I'm really basing the definition of horror on the internal dread experience. Am I terrified? Am I horrified? Am I extremely uncomfortable? Is it bad that I wasn't uncomfortable reading this? Because I felt like I understood the rules from the get-go. They were explained and I was like, okay, let's do this. I think it was also something where it was really easy to feel separated from the characters for me personally because I'm an adult woman and these are all adolescent boys who are on this walk. And I feel like it really did make me feel separate from these characters because from the very beginning, especially when we learned that they chose to be here for the Long Walk, my very first feeling is, well, I would never make that decision, but okay, let's walk together. So I really took an outside kind of God perspective, if you will, of these characters in a, I'm just reading you, I'm not on the walk with you. So all of their pain and all of the horror and all of the challenges that they face and all of the difficulty, I just didn't spend any of it scared. I didn't spend any of it horrified. The back says that this is one of King's finest works. It is great. I'm not going to deny that. Scary, threatening, and unsettling. I feel like none of those words are how I felt while reading this. Intense and harrowing. Just not the words I would use. Mesmerizes its reader. That's true. I was in it. I enjoyed this. I read just a group of kids walking and experiencing a lot of psychological trauma along the way. So it definitely kept my attention. Psychological terror. Does this count as terror? Does it count as terror? Maybe for the characters. I guess the characters are terrorized. I, just as the reader, didn't feel terrorized. Maybe if I was younger. Maybe if I was a boy. I don't know. This isn't actually the first book that I've read that the entire premise of the book is about a walk. This one is the darkest version of that narrative. But The Lights of Ystrix Wood, which is by Alex Rowland, one of my favorite authors, is the same premise. It's just walking through the woods from one town to another town. This one is cottagecore, though. And one thing I really genuinely love about both these books is it takes a really simple premise, just a walk, and it makes it fascinating and interesting and kept my attention, both of these, from start to finish. I think it reminds me of the fact that you don't necessarily have to create a complex magic system or a complex problem. it can actually be very straightforward and simple and still really fascinating and interesting. Stephen King kept me interested from the very first chapter all the way through, and I thought that was great. I definitely felt that there were elements of this dystopian world that I wanted to know more about. There's this major. Who is he? How did he get all the power he has? The squads, what are their deal? We know a little bit, but give me more. There was this, like, the change, I think is what it was described as. Like, what was that? I feel like this is a side quest in a dystopian world that needs more content about what's going on in that dystopian world. I don't know if this book is part of a larger world and this really is just a side quest, but that's what it felt like. So for rating this book, if this book is part of a larger world where we get to know more about those other characteristics of this dystopian world, I give it a solid 4 stars. If it's not part of a larger dystopian world, I'd actually give it about like a 3.9 because I feel like it could actually have a bit more. I think it was great. I thought it was really interesting. I'm glad I read it. I'm so thrilled to watch the movie. I personally I can't really figure out, I just can't really define this as horror. There's definitely been books where I've just been more emotionally disturbed during the book. For example, the Mind F series. This is dark romance, serial killer revenge arc. And there are elements that I read this and they were horrifying and they were just like, oh my God. And the gore and that felt more akin to horror. I did not experience the emotions I attribute to horror while reading this book. So that's actually not the genre I would put this in. This is dystopian. This is psychological unease, but is unease even the right word? It's more a psychological exploration into what happens to humans when they make choices that are not necessarily beneficial for their long-term survival and also are experiencing extreme physical and psychological pain. And it's in a way a character exploration of that with characters you wouldn't necessarily think that you were going to want to study. And yet here we are. So I don't know. I thought it was really good, but I would say right now I would rank it about a 3.9. I still am impressed with Stephen King, the ability to write just a walk and make it interesting and keep me paying attention. I read like 150 pages in the first day. That was really cool. It's split into 3 sections. Wasn't necessary. And the first and the third section are like extremely short, like a chapter or 2. And then the bulk of the entire book is part 2. I wasn't quite sure why we had different parts. So that was interesting. And all right, the chapter lengths were pretty decent. They were on a little bit on the longer side, but very fast read. Really quite interesting. I thought this was pretty tame. I thought this was pretty chill. I might be broken. Guys, am I broken? I need somebody to tell me. Am I a little broken? I don't know. I'm just like, okay, like I just accept it, just like they had to from the very beginning. Like, all right, this was gonna happen, and we know that the winner is the last person bucking. Like that is established from the very beginning. So okay, and we'll see where it goes. So the ending had elements that were satisfactory, and then also elements where I was like, okay, now what? Keep going, keep telling me the story. I want more from this world, and that's again why I would rank it like a 3.9. Genuinely, I'm really happy I read this, and there's some spice in this book, I guess you could say. I know that's a weird thing to say. I mean, it's like half of a chili pepper, I guess. There's just elements of how arousal comes into play as something your body might go through at weird times as just one of the bodily responses to stress. So it's just like half a chili pepper, I guess I would say. Very little. Gore wise, honestly, I would not say it was extremely gory. The Mind F series, that was really gory. This, I don't know. Again, maybe I'm just broken. Butcher and Blackbird, that might have been, that one may or may not have had more gore than this. It's just, I don't know. Like, I feel like the movie is going to be more gory than how it was written. I feel like the gore, the way it was written, was so digestible. Is that a weird thing to say? I don't know. I wasn't queasy. I wasn't disturbed. From the way that other people have talked about this book, I'm like, am I broken? I don't know. Maybe I wasn't disturbed. I wasn't queasy. I was curious. I spent the whole thing going, okay, interesting. Okay, what's going to happen next? Huh, okay, interesting. Oh, okay. There was only one part in the entire book, and it was very, very brief when I went, oh, that was like there was one time. What does this say about me as a person? I don't know. But it's good. I recommend it if you're nervous and scared about Stephen King. I think this is a great start because I think it's tame. I think it's chill. I think this was just fine. I think the gore was not too bad in my opinion for how bad gore can get. And I had no nightmares. I had no internal dread. I think this is a great start. Plus, it's only like 300 pages long. So, like, yeah, check it out. So, anyways, I will be watching the movie soon, and I will let you know how this compares to the movie. I have to see if it's streaming yet. I know it just came out of the theaters. I'm so sad that I just missed that cutoff because I would have loved to go watch this in the theaters. But I'll let you know how the movie stacks up to the book. In the meantime, when it comes to book reading, my next book I am thrilled about. It's Empire of the Vampire, Jay Kristoff. And it's like 730 something pages long. It's a long book, and I am ready for this. I'm so excited. I absolutely adore Jay Kristoff's The Nevernight Chronicles. I should do a review on that. Oh, phenomenal. Just phenomenal. Absolutely loved it. I'm so ready for this. Okay, I don't know if you can tell. Do you see all those little, maybe if I like, can you see all those little black lines? It's like coming in and out of focus. Do you see all those little black lines? Okay, those are full page art spreads, all right? Let me go find you one. Like this. for every single one of those lines, those dark lines. Okay. That's like 30 or more pieces of art, I think. I have no idea. I'm so for this. I'm so ready. I am thrilled. This is going to be great. This is a trilogy. This is the first book of a trilogy. Book 3 is coming out on November 4th. I've already pre-ordered it, so it's coming in the mail, and I'm so excited. And so this is going to take me through the end of October, which is perfect for Halloween season because it's vampires, and then into November. I'm so excited to read Jay Kristoff again. I am thrilled. So this is my next read. I hope this was an enjoyable and informative video, and keep reading what you love, and I will see you soon for a book movie review of The Long Walk for Stephen King.